Hi, it's me Jacqueline. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to the channel, then please subscribe my channel and visit my Patreon page, link in the description.
Surprise! I was so shocked that if Mom hadn't grabbed my arm, I might have toppled right out of the trailer. The girls burst into claps and laughter at my reaction. Vanessa ran up to greet me, and Becky, Kathy, Amanda, Sammy, and another girl I didn't recognize all shouted, "Happy birthday." Aunt Monica was in the kitchen with Mrs. Kiss. She was laughing and clapping, apparently. My reaction was entertaining. Mrs. Kiss raised her beer can and toasted, "Happy birthday." Vanessa looked me up and down. "Bobby, Sue, you look amazing." Mom took the red dress from me while Vanessa grabbed the shopping bags and followed her back to my room. I wanted to follow too, but Becky was already at my side. She linked her arm with mine and leaned in close. "Look, twins," she said to the girls. "Oh my God, you do look like twins," Amanda said excitedly. "Your hair, your makeup, seriously, you two had some work done," Kathy added with a laugh. Maybe it was just me, but Kathy's laugh always sounded like she was laughing at someone, not with them. Sammy came over with the girl I hadn't met yet. She wore a denim miniskirt and a black top that clung tight. "Bobby, Sue, I want you to meet my little sister, Amber." I looked at her. There was something familiar about her face or round cheeks, thick eyebrows, and a subtle underbite. I realized she looked a bit like Sammy's younger brother, Tommy. Amber's makeup tried to cover some acne, but it didn't really hide it all. Still, there was something soft in her expression. After I got home last night, I asked Tommy if he knew a Bobby Sue Strikler. "That's when I knew you and Amber had to meet," Sammy explained. Amber gave a small wave. "Hi." "Hi," I replied. Her voice reminded me of Tommy's, soft and shy. Kathy walked over. "Wow, that's a cute outfit." "Thanks," Becky said with a proud grin. I was trying to make sense of it all. Why were Becky's friends throwing me a birthday party? Was this Sammy's way of trying to match me up with her sister? I wasn't sure how to feel, but it left me uneasy. Honestly, I would have preferred just having Vanessa and her mom over. "You should see the red dress Bobby Sue got." "It is so hot," Becky boasted. She still had her arm locked in mine and led me over to the sofa. The others followed. Vanessa returned with a small stack of gifts and set them down on the coffee table. Then she sat beside me and held my hand. Becky launched into the story of our shopping trip, laughing and joking with her friends. But I could feel Amber and Kathy occasionally glancing my way. It made me self-conscious. I started to worry about how it looked, sitting there holding Vanessa's hand. I thought about pulling away, but I didn't. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. Plus, holding her hand gave me a weird kind of comfort. I glanced at Amber. She stood near Sammy but didn't really blend in with the group. Needing a breather, I stood up. "I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a soda." "Want one?" "No thanks," Vanessa replied. I headed into the kitchen. Mrs. Kiss smiled and told me how great I looked. I thanked her, and then she and Aunt Monica stepped out, leaving me alone. I opened the fridge and grabbed a soda. When I turned around, Amber was standing there. I was caught off guard. Trapped, almost. I looked past her, hoping Vanessa might follow me in, but she was still in the living room with her mom and Aunt Monica. "Do you want a soda?" I asked. "Diet," she said softly. I grabbed a can and handed it to her. "Thanks." We both cracked our sodas open. I took a sip. She paused, thinking, then asked, "How did you do it?" "Do what?" "Tell your mom." Her question hit hard. I thought about it. The truth was, I hadn't. Not really. I admitted that I liked dressing up, sure. But it was Mom who had pushed things further, who had made me go along with it. It was like she had known something about me that I didn't. "It was actually my mom's idea," I said. "Becky needed help with her prom dress, and Mom made me help her out. I guess I ended up being Becky's dress form. I don't know how to explain it, but this is me now." Amber stood there in silence, thinking. It felt awkward. I didn't really know what to say. And honestly, I wasn't sure why. but I didn't like Amber. Maybe it was because I felt like this whole friendship was being set up without my say. Maybe it was because she reminded me of who I used to be or who I was trying not to be anymore. But then I thought of Paige. Meeting her had changed something in me. She made me feel seen. Maybe, just maybe, I could try to be that person for someone else too. So I asked, "How did you tell your parents?" I thought back over the last couple of days. I had started out terrified. But as more people found out my truth and still accepted me, the fear began to fade. This afternoon felt like the best day of my life. I had never felt that kind of joy before. "It's scary," I told Amber, "but you should tell them." "I could never tell them," she replied. "Especially my dad. He can never know." "Why not?" "I'm his only son. At the club, he's always bragging, 'My son did this, my son did that.' You can hear the pride in his voice. If I were a disappointment to him, maybe it would be easier." She paused and took a small sip of her soda. I didn't know what to say. Oddly, I started thinking about my dad the night he walked out on us. I was 5. We lived in an apartment back then. I remember sitting on my bed, hugging my knees, trying to drown out the sound of yelling. Mom and Becky were crying in the living room. Aunt Monica was shouting back at him, telling him to leave and never come back. He was furious, but she didn't back down. Then he finally left. I still remember his last words before slamming the door behind him. They were harsh and full of rage. That moment stuck with me. Now here was Amber, talking about her dad like he was a hero. I started to feel a bit angry. Was she implying I was a disappointment? I tried to shake the thought and stay calm. "I don't know what to tell you," I said, trying to end the conversation without sounding cold. I noticed Sammy watching us. Thinking she might join in, I set my soda down and headed to the bathroom, not because I needed to go, but because I needed a break. In the mirror, I touched up my makeup. I got a little lost looking at my reflection, my hair extensions, the new jewelry, the makeup, the red dress. I looked completely different from who I used to be. And I loved who I was becoming. On my way back, Sammy called out to me from my bedroom. I was a little annoyed she was in there, but since she was Becky's friend, I decided to be polite. "What's up?" I asked, stepping inside. "I just wanted to thank you," she said. "You don't know how much this means to Amber and me." Something in her tone made me feel like there was more to it. "You're welcome," I replied cautiously. She smiled. "Amber and I have been close since we were little. It's always been a secret, though. She's wanted someone to talk to, someone who gets it. But we were always afraid no one would understand. Especially not our parents." "That's what she told me," I said. Sammy nodded, then stepped forward and hugged me. I didn't mind the hug, it felt sincere. As we pulled apart, she kept her hands gently on my waist. "You look really pretty tonight," she said. "Thanks," I smiled. Compliments always felt nice. But then she surprised me, she kissed me. I instinctively leaned back, but she gently held on. My hands moved to her shoulders, ready to push her away, but I didn't. Something about the kiss caught me off guard, in a way that made it hard to pull back. Maybe it was the thrill, maybe it was the privacy, maybe it was just nice to be wanted by someone older, someone confident. Before I could really process it, I found myself slipping my arms around her neck. She kissed me deeper, her lips soft, her touch familiar. It stirred something in me. A curiosity. A warmth. Maybe even something more. Then Sammy slowly pulled away. "We should go to the movies sometime," she whispered. "What are you doing?" Vanessa's voice cut in. I froze. My heart jumped. "Did she see?" Sammy answered quickly, "Just thanking Bobby Sue for being kind to Amber." I turned to Vanessa, trying not to look guilty. Her eyes scanned the room, then she smiled. "We want you to open your presents," she said, grabbing my hand gently and pulling me toward the living room. When I sat down, everyone had gathered in a circle around the living room. On the coffee table was a neat stack of presents. Vanessa had arranged them from largest at the bottom to the smallest on top. I picked the tiniest box first, barely 3 inches wide. A card was taped to the top. It was from Kathy. I glanced over at her. She looked excited. It took me a minute to unwrap the ribbon thanks to my long nails, but eventually I opened the little black box. Inside were a pair of delicate amethyst earrings on gold posts. "Happy birthday," Kathy said with a smile. "Thanks, these are beautiful." I held them up for everyone to see. "You'll have to get your ears pierced now," Mrs. Kiss chimed in. I studied the earrings. "You're right. I can do it in the kitchen if you want. Just need some ice and a needle," she added, half joking. I wasn't sure how serious she was. "Maybe later," I laughed nervously. Next was a slightly larger box. The card was handmade from Amanda. Inside was a gold necklace with a single amethyst stone perfectly matching the earrings. "Happy birthday," Amanda said warmly. "Thank you." I lifted the necklace to show everyone. "Let me help you put it on," Becky offered, stepping over. I stood up as she fastened it around my neck. I couldn't quite see the stone, but I could feel the way it rested just above my collarbone. "That really matches your top," Sammy noted. "I hope you like it," Amber added quietly. "I love it. It's really beautiful," I replied. "You know we share everything now," Becky teased. "Except boyfriends," Kathy added, and the room burst into laughter. Vanessa and I didn't really find it funny, but we smiled anyway. "Keep going," Aunt Monica encouraged. The next gift was just an envelope with a $100 mall gift card inside. It was from Sammy and Amber. "We didn't know what to get you," Sammy explained, "but shopping's always a good idea." "Thank you both," I said sincerely. Then came the gift from Vanessa and her mom. I felt a little shy opening it, especially because of how Vanessa signed the card with a trail of XS and OS. I didn't pass that one around. Inside the box was a hand and foot spa kit, a bottle of pink nail polish, and a lipstick in a bright shade of fuchsia. "Thank you," I said, showing the box around. "The soap in the kit is made with goat's milk," Mrs. Kiss explained. "It's supposed to be great for your skin." "I can't wait to see the nail polish on you," Vanessa whispered. The girls were chatting and passing around the gifts when Becky nudged me again. "Open the next one," she said. There was no card. "It's from me," Becky added. As I unwrapped it, I saw it was from Macy's. That alone was surprising. But when I pulled back the paper, I was shocked. It was a soft pink nightgown with lace detailing and gentle pleats down to the knees. The girls all cheered. "Hold it up," Becky said excitedly. I lifted the nightgown, a little hesitant. I had just received makeup and jewelry, but this felt different. A little more personal. The room was full of compliments and chatter, and I felt both flattered and overwhelmed. "You have one more," Kathy reminded me. Vanessa gently took the gown from my hands. "I'll hold it for you." I reached for the last box. The envelope on top had my mom's handwriting, to Bobby Sue. I carefully unwrapped the package. It was heavier than the others, and as the wrapping came off, I saw the label. She got me a wee. I looked up at her, stunned. "Happy birthday," she smiled. "Thank you," I whispered, touched. "That's so fun to play," Sammy said with wide eyes. Just then, Becky came in carrying the birthday cake. Everyone started singing. Vanessa wrapped her arm around my waist as Mrs. Kiss cleared space on the table. All eyes were on me. I straightened the hem of my skirt and smiled. "Musical notes, happy birthday to you, musical notes." Becky set the cake down just as everyone finished singing. "Make a wish," she said with a grin. I looked around the room, then down at the cake. "Make a wish." The words echoed in my mind. I didn't even know what to wish for, not that wishes come true anyway. And then, like perfect timing, I heard it. A train whistle. Of course. I wished I didn't live in a trailer right next to the railroad tracks. That's what I wished for. With one deep breath, I blew out the single candle. "Who wants chocolate ice cream with their cake?" Mom asked as she picked up the cake. "I'll take a head count. You start cutting," Aunt Monica said, stepping in. Everyone wanted ice cream. The train whistle blew again, twice. The northbound was about to cross the road. I went quiet, suddenly self-conscious about where I lived. But the girls just kept talking and laughing, acting like the train didn't exist. Sammy leaned over. Which games came with your Wii? I'm not sure. I haven't opened the box yet. Vanessa set the nightgown in my lap. I'll hook it up for you, she offered, already getting up. While Aunt Monica and Mrs. Kiss served cake and ice cream, Vanessa worked on the Wii setup. The train rumbled by outside. I glanced over at Sammy and Amber. Sammy was watching me. Amber looked a little shaken by the noise. I thought to myself, this isn't the golf course, Amber. Becky said you got a really cute red dress, Amanda said, pulling me back into the conversation. I felt awkward. It's nice, I said, trying to be heard over the train. It's nice? You should see how amazing she looks in it. Becky raised her voice to make sure they all heard. Kathy leaned in. Can we? I'd like to see you in the dress, Sammy added. Becky leaned close and whispered, after cake, model it for them. I gave her a hesitant look, silent resistance. She just nodded. It'll be fun. I tilted my head, unsure. But then she whispered again, trust me. Strangely, I did. Just a week ago, my reaction to her would have been anger or sarcasm. But that feeling was gone. For the first time, I looked at Becky and realized something had changed about both of us. She looked more relaxed, more at ease. I didn't see the defensive edge I used to. Aunt Monica handed me a plate of cake. As she turned back toward the kitchen, she paused and said, You should show the girls the red dress. Becky nudged me. See? Told you. Becky and I already talked about that, I said with a smile. I figured I'd change after cake. I gave Becky the credit on purpose. I didn't want it to seem like I was doing it just because Aunt Monica said so. And I didn't want Aunt Monica thinking I'd just go along with anything. Amber moved closer and sat beside me quietly, eating her cake. I felt like I should say something, but I couldn't think of the right words. So I just took a bite of my cake instead, and honestly, I felt lucky. So, Becky, Kathy asked, Are you going to show us that prom dress you've been working on? It's not done yet, Becky replied. I'll show it when it's finished. You should see it. It's beautiful, I added. Now everyone wanted to see it. Becky smiled. If you have to. But I want to make it clear it's not finished.
Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access.